I mean, essentially, even though we are doing it for others, at the end of the day, it's just for us.
True.
Yeah.
By the way, we are live now, so yeah. Let's just wait for a couple of people to come in and then we can start.
Yeah. Ooh, I can see myself. Okay. I want to see whether you can see me.
Sorry?
I want to see whether I can see myself doing stuff. Just like dancing right now.
Let's see.
Oh yes, I can. Oh, that's funny. I look like a complete retard.
No, it's alright. You look good. You look good.
Oh man, this is super funny. Oh man, I don't think there's anybody right now.
Yeah, and there won't be so soon. So let's wait.
I want to switch up this so that you don't get confused. And I'm going to just fix my hair.
No, it's alright.
Please fix yourself.
Cool. This is going good. One watching, and that's probably just me.
Yeah. No, that's me actually.
Oh, wow. We're competing with ourselves here.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. So now let's just wait for a bit. We'll start.
We start at 10:05 or
Yeah.
10:10 basically.
Cool.
10:10.
Oh, we started at 9:58. Damn, we are faster than we expected.
We're pioneers. Yeah, we're pioneers at YouTubing. Live experts already.
Oh, you know what? Tell me what all we'll be going over. I'll just write it down in the comments.
Descriptions. Cool. Yeah. So we'll be going over navigation.
Okay.
Which is
Wait.
navigation.
This.
We'll be looking at the.
Hold on. This
okay.
course
Yeah.
will touch on navigation.
Yeah, we'll be looking at we'll be doing a very brief study of what 3D form is and the different types of objects. What is a mesh?
Brief study of 3D objects.
Yeah.
Can I call it that?
Then the next thing we'll be doing is modifiers.
Modifiers.
Snap tool.
Snap tool.
A brief overview of all shortcuts, or not all, maybe just like whichever I remember at the time. God, I remember the important ones. Then we'll be ending ending it off like in between. We'll be touching like every now and then we'll be touching on topics like difference between destructive and non-destructive. Good night. Oh, that was my grandma, by the way, Rohit.
Hello, auntie.
താണ്ട അവിടെ ഇല്ല ഇപ്പൊ മൂപ്പര് അത് ഞാനാ എന്റെ അടിയിൽ അവിടെ we'll be talking about the difference between destructive and non-destructive what do you say methods. I do not know what it's called. I know it's called non-destructive and destructive.
Destructive and non-destructive methods.
Transformations.
Transformations.
Yes. And then we'll also be briefly going over what is the difference between global and local.
And a brief overview of global
and local.
Local. Okay, cool. So I'll just put this in because oh shit, that's 220 words. I gotta cut down. I'll just cut out the last part. Transformations.
Yeah.
Cool. So concurrent views
We
one.
have somebody. No, I was just looking at trying to figure out who that person is.
So far nobody. I think it's just either you or me. But
Yeah, it's probably who knows it.
yeah, let's just go for it. Yeah. Let's just start. Good to go?
Yeah, I mean we are good to go. But then are we starting at 10 or 10 or 10?
No, let's just start. I think. Oh, 2 views. Okay, cool. This is going good.
Both
People are actually joining.
That's both of us, I think.
No, I'm not watching it anymore. So.
Oh, that's weird. I see only one though.
Tell me.
How's life?
It's good. It's good. Can't wait to start learning Blender and start working.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest problem with Blender that I see is like uh, all the options are not in front of you. Like
But
in like in essence, basically a lot of these options are all like merged into small icons, which is essentially good in some ways. It'll prompt people to work faster because they'll end up using the shortcuts instead of the actual menus. But
so,
then it's slightly
are you saying that the other softwares that are there, do they do it better?
better in terms of like how intimidating it is. Maybe, I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, to a certain extent, yes. To a very good extent, yeah. Because, like, I'm pretty sure Cinema 4D is like that. Okay, but Cinema 4D, a lot of stuff is like automated.
Okay. Cool. Our one mysterious viewer that appeared took off, so I think we'll just start.
That's probably me, dude.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. So,
Joel came, bro.
Joel. Oh, is he there in the
Joel.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Joel.
Oh, hey, Joel.
Dude, the Madhu gang.
and Tamilian.
And Tamilian. Is he Tamilian?
No, he's Malu. I'm Tamilian.
Yes.
Cool, man. Let's start. Let's not keep Joel waiting.
Yeah. Joel, everything we do is for you right now. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so this is the starting page. And
Okay, about the starting page, I have like one question. Those things on the right, like the
Right.
VFX and all those panels, do they actually change your workspace and like help you in that kind of area, or like?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it definitely does, dude. Like, I mean, I think it's sort of like how when we change it to shading, the right number of panels and the right stuff appears, like this on top.
So
So-
is it good enough, like what they've given, or do you create your own? Because for me in After Effects, I
I mean-
generally create my own spaces.
We can do that. For shading and all, I generally keep it. I keep it going to the basics. But for everything else, I usually change it to my own. What do you say? Like, for example, you know what? We'll get to that. We'll get
Cool.
to that right now.
Cool.
So just to start off with, navigation is using the middle mouse button. If let's say you're a Maya user, and for some weird reason you wanted to use this like how you generally use a Maya, like Maya interface, just go to preferences, and in Blender preferences, Jesus, where is Blender preferences? Yes, go to key maps. I mean navigation or just give me a second. Okay, so I think somewhere here.
I think your cursor is frozen, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Oh, okay. Now it's working. Now it's working.
Okay, cool. So go to the key maps in Blender preferences, which, if you guys are wondering, is in the edit side of the main menu. In edit preferences in key maps, there is 3 sections. Anybody who's used to using Blender before the 2.8 beta update can go to Blender 20.
Wait, I don't think I see the preferences pane. If that did pop up, was anything supposed to pop
Sorry?
up? Or was anything supposed
Yeah, a Blender preference pop-up should appear right now. Is it not popping up?
to? It hasn't popped up yet. Has it popped up for you, or is it missing just for us?
Just give me a second. I think it has popped up for me. I think it'll come in sometime, hopefully. Maybe it's lag.
Or maybe try switching your zoom live stream to share your whole desktop rather than just Blender window.
Understood.
Also, we'll have to keep it under half an hour, otherwise the Zoom thing will cut.
Understood. Got it. So do you see this?
Not yet.
Now?
We don't. Now we see. it. We don't see the preferences pane though. So just go over that
Okay,
again.
cool. So go to Edit, Preferences, Key Maps. Go to this side over here. See this weird dialog box which appears. If you want to use the Blender older versions interface, just press that. Otherwise, use industry compatible if you're used to Substance Paint and Maya and stuff. I am going to go with the new Blender interface, which I find more comfortable in general. How navigation works, again, just the middle mouse button. If you're using a mouse, which I highly recommend, I am kind of used to using a Wacom tablet, but for some weird reason, Blender is not generally suited for people who use Wacom. Ouch, I hit my hand. And what generally happens is that now there is no issue if it's just like one panel, which we are using. But then as soon as you open multiple panels, you start realizing why the wheel is very important in the mouse. So again, middle mouse button, if you press Control and you drag the mouse down, you can zoom in, and if you drag the mouse up, you can, if you drag the mouse up, you can zoom in, drag the mouse up, down, you can zoom up. Press Shift, you can pan, okay? And this is basically the most important part. You can, instead of using Control, I think if you're using a mouse, it's better to use the wheel barrel. I think that's what it's called, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
So the wheel, the mouse wheel, and you can just go ahead and do that. Next thing we got to know is how do we open new panels, and this is important because let's say you're making something with reference to another image, and it is important for you to actually see maybe the right side and the left side. Right side and the front side of that image simultaneously. So this one viewport can't work. You need to open multiple viewports. And how you do that is basically you look at this corner and you won't see anything in general, but you can just pull that stuff to the direction, that like corner, to the direction where you want to open a new panel, and suddenly you open a new panel. So if you want to make a new panel vertically, you just drag it down like that, and if you want to keep on doing this, opening up and subdividing, you can do that however you want, right? So, and it's really hard to see it, but then if you go to the corner, your cursor suddenly turns into a cross mark, and from there, suddenly you can make a lot of small panels and stuff, and each of them work differently.
It literally looks like you're creating the golden ratio right now.
Cameras. Sorry?
It looks like you're creating the golden ratio.
Yeah, shit. Da Vinci is made for that. But now, since I've created this mess, I want to, let's say I just want 1, 2, 3, panels. So one would think, how would you do that? If you right-click this, there is some way, but it's really hard to right-click on this.
I know, I hate that too.
Right-click on this line, you join area, suddenly they will tell you which part you want to join. The arrow sign indicates that, and then you click it. Basically, the panel which your cursor is not on joins to the panel your cursor is not on. And that's the thing. Now, that is very inconvenient. So what you basically do is go to the same corner, either side, it's there the bottom left-hand side and the top right-hand side corner, and just drag it onto the viewport you wanted to join. And that is instantly more convenient, right?
Yeah.
A general theory in 3D softwares is that the more convenient things are for you, the more attention you'll be able to keep on the technical as well as the artistic aspects. And your interface, the way you use Blender or any of the 3D softwares would highly depend on how you're able to balance both the technical and artistic side. Moving from that, right now what my favorite way of working with Blender is by dividing this side into 2 boxes and keeping one as a way to look here. Now,
Hold on. You are breaking. Hold on. You are stuck. Give it a second.
Notice that, let's say
One second. Sidharth, Hold on. Could you go over whatever you just said now? Cause you're stuck.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. Uh, so, so what basically happens is, you might.
Oh, once
come
again,
somewhere
sorry,
Yeah.
Sidharth, but Joel's asking where do you press to see that? Press that to see the screen. Which do you know what exactly he's talking about?
If
I'll ask him. Hold on. Let's see. Which screen? Alright, so just continue till he answers.
Cool. So now, as you have noticed, I have zoomed out and I have panned in such a weird manner, and like God knows where my box.
Hold on.
All right.
Sorry for interrupting, but he's saying how do you get the multi-screen? So just go over that one more time.
Oh, okay, cool. So the multi-screen is basically like there is no specific button for multi-screen. You're just dragging out. Imagine like this. There is like this one box. Okay, this box here, and you're just dragging out from the corner to make a new screen like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So any corner you drag it out, and it will make the general direction where you grab the that corner out. It will make a new screen over there, and use the same corner to basically join it, as such, like how I'm showing it right on the video. That's how you do it in Blender.
Got it.
So I hope the doubt is clear. If not, you can
I think so.
bring it in. So now let's come to the part where I have lost my object. Okay, and I'm in no man's land, everything is great, like I'm very sad. There is a couple of ways, like you don't need to close this and make a new panel, okay, for solving this issue. It can be very easily solved. The best way is to actually look, oh my god, my hair is super weird. The best way to look at it is go to your
Oh, hold on. I don't think they can see that. Let me move this away. Where can I put it? Will this area block? Yeah, okay, continue. Now we can talk about that.
So, on the left, right hand side, top corner, you see this weird, I think it's called the
Right hand
outliner.
side.
Yeah, right hand side. I think it's called the outliner. Please let me be correct.
Yeah, it's called outliner.
Honestly, yeah. So, over there you can see the collections, and collections are like a group of objects. We haven't got to that yet, but it basically shows what all objects there are and indicates what type it is and whether you can see them or not. Here, if it's indicated, if it has an orange outline, then basically you can see it. And let's say you want to go right now and look at it. And the best way to do that is not trying to zoom in to that object and pray to the gods of the
Yeah.
internet to find it. It's to click that object over here. You have already selected another object. Click that object over here. Or you can click it in another panel you have opened, viewport, and press the period button or the dot in the number pad. And suddenly, it brings your object into focus. That is probably one of the most useful things that you got to know. Alright? So that is basically one side of navigations. There is the shortcut. Let's say if you press Alt by mistake, not by mistake, if you press Alt and you move your, if you press Alt and you press your middle button and you move across in Blender, trying to, navigate, you'll see that it snaps. And let's say you want to snap it in the X, Y, Z axes, which is again something very important when you come across that. Then you can just press Alt and, turn it in that direction. So just that's something you need to keep your mind ahead in. Now that you've sort of covered navigations, we need to just look at the x-axis. The x is the red line, y-axis is the green line, and the z-axis is the line which goes up. It's generally indicated across the entire interface.
Sorry, you're stuck again. Hold on. Could you repeat that? You got stuck.
Yeah. I think the internet connection is being the real
Yeah.
thing to me. I should say.
But it's alright now. It's back.
Okay, cool. So this is quick or 3D mesh, which is basically this
Oh, you're
object here.
you're stuck
Or
again.
anything physical. It's called, I think, an object. Am I stuck again?
You're unstuck now, but you momentarily get stuck. But for now, it's cool. So you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. So an object is basically like this object is called a map. What each of these things are called, but just imagine, I mean, no, not imagine, just consider this a mesh. And a mesh is made up of three things. First is the base. It is basically, it's like a singularity, right? It is basically called vertices.
Okay.
One vertex for the singular form.
Okay.
And these have like individual positions. Vertexes are connected. They form
Oh,
what
you're okay.
and the edge. It's getting started. Let me show you.
Oh, okay. Do one thing, Sidharth. Pause your video. Don't send video my way, so that maybe it will ease the internet.
You want me to stop sharing?
No. I mean your image, your video. How? Turn off your camera is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. Now that you guys are not seeing my beautiful face,
I will
We have
slyly take over your face. I'm
Yes.
just kidding. I won't do that.
all right. So now that we are seeing the edges are basically, well, they are a connection of two different vertices,
Mm-hmm.
and when two edges, okay, basically when two or more edges are related, they form a face,
Okay.
right? And now face is like a 2D image of sorts.
All right.
Right? And a mesh becomes an object as such when there is a mesh becomes like a proper, what do you say, physical object which has 3 dimensions properly only when it is closed from all directions with faces, alright?
Mm-hmm.
Until then it's like a plane, it's a 2D object.
Got it.
So that's something you guys have to keep in mind. Now, moving further on, so how do I go, in general, how you basically move anything is by pressing G. And when you press G, it will move your object or anything that you're holding on to in the plane from which you are looking at. So if you're looking at it like this, then it will move it in that direction. If you're looking at it like this, it will move it in this direction. And there's considerable amount of freedom, but then the issue with this is that you can't really define where it should exactly go. So the best thing you can do for that is basically snap it into one particular axis. How you do that is basically, this is the best part of a blender, is that everything is within your fingers, alright, especially your left hand. That sounds very wrong. So if you press G and you press X, alright, it will move in the x-axis only. Alright? If you press G and you press Y, it will move in the y-axis only. G, Z, it will move in the z-axis. If you press G and you press Shift Z, it will say what it basically tells the object to do is basically you move in anything, any axis except Z. Same for Shift Y, it tells you not to move in y-axis. Same for Shift X, it tells you not to move in x-axis. And this is very important, alright? Moving further on, I did not tell you in the navigation aspect about snapping and front and right and back and top. You're in front orthography, which I'll tell you more about orthography later, but just understand this for me. looking at the object from the right when you're pressing 3. Right, and that is indicated in the left-hand side top. In essence, I'd like to keep it like this, where I'm looking at the object from the front here, and looking at the object from the right-hand side here, and then the perspective views here. Now, you might be wondering, well, now that I've figured out how to move an object as a whole, let's say I want this object to move slightly here and there. I mean, not move slightly as in change the form. Okay, I want to change the vertex, the edge, and the face. How you do that is you enter the edit mode, and what edit mode does is it makes you completely focus on to one object, and you edit everything that is there, that is a part of that object.
Okay.
Talking about a cube, you tap and suddenly you're in the edit mode. Alright, and select any part and it will basically, select that particular as attribute. Now, what attribute is basically, well, there is the vertex which is here indicated by a dot, and you can edit, press G and press the Shift Z, and you can basically edit the vertex. If you press the edge and you click any of the edges and press Shift Z or any direction, you can only edit the edge. And same goes for face, which is the third option.
Alright.
Now, one might think this is the best way to work. No, I personally don't like the fact that I have to go here every time to click. So the best thing is on top of your, not in your number pad, I'm talking about the keyboard, the place where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is written horizontally. If you press 1, you go to the vertex, press 2, go to the edge, and press 3, go to the face mode. Okay?
Alright.
So a quick way of selecting each. So if I want to work edge, I can just press 2 and immediately move this up. Then let's say I want to select face, and then I can click this and then move this the x-axis. Alright? So now we have come to the understanding that this entire thing just doesn't move that much. You can't edit it furthermore because the number of vertexes or faces are very less. First thing we have to learn is extrude. And what extrude does is it basically does not add on, it just pulls out a face or an edge or a vertex. It is generally used more in the face mode because if you pull out an edge, it I think forms something called the non-manifold mesh face because it is not closed. Alright.
Okay.
So for example, let's just try it out. Right? Let's take this edge and we control and we extrude it. Now, the best way to extrude is basically by pressing Control E, and suddenly you get all these options. Alright? And suddenly you get a message, saying extrude edges but not extrude vertices. I think that's basically because you can't really extrude vertices. But if you extrude Control E and edge after pressing 2 and then Control E, then you can extrude an edge. And this forms this weird flap sort of situation. And in essence, you don't want this to happen because this causes a lot of problems. The computer doesn't know what it's doing over here. It's quite dumb. And the computer is like, oh, I don't know what to do. So that is essentially why you should never, not never, try not to do this. I hope I'm sort of clear until now. Moving further on, the best place to do Control E or extrude is basically the face. Control E, okay? What it basically does is, not Control E, sorry. Control E gives you options for the edges, alright?
Okay.
If you just press E, you can basically extrude, alright?
Yeah.
You can see that it's extruding along the x-axis, right?
Yeah.
What about here? Shouldn't it also extrude according to the x-axis? No. A blue line appears, and what this blue indicates is basically the direction which is perpendicular to the space, alright? Because you can only extrude, alright? And how this perpendicular is basically what we learned in school before. A normal is basically the perpendicular direction of this, okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, now let's say, is this the only thing we can do with extrude? No. If you press E and you press, let's say you want to scale this, that is done very easily with the this button called S, and that's basically how you extrude. I mean, you basically sort of extrude outwards. And let's say you want to extrude inwards, you can do that too. Now let's say you have extruded this, and you want to rotate this slightly.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I have a doubt. So, what is the difference between extrude and inset regarding what you just did before this step, where you extruded inwards?
Inset. Okay. Yeah. So what that basically it's both called extrude as such, but then because we scaled it down. In essence, what inset does is it just scales it in the direction of the normal.
Okay.
So, like, let's say you want to create a hole here, a rectangular hole going downwards.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way other than to extrude it inward. So you extrude it. Oh wow, sorry, my bad. I'll tell you what just happened there later. You click E, press S, and you extrude it inward. Not inward, you inset it basically.
Wait, so you just clicked E and then S?
Yeah, E and then S. You basically.
But then if you
scaled
click.
it inwards.
So, as soon as you click an E, it just creates a new face? Or did you click E and then left click or right click?
No. As soon as you create E, it just tells, okay, now I have made a new face. If you drag it, if you just move the mouse, I will only move it across the normal. That is the general instruction.
Oh, cool. Okay.
If you bring it down, as you can see, it will extrude inwards.
Okay.
If you press S, it will scale up or scale down as you wish.
Mm-hmm.
If you press R, it will rotate in the direction
Oh, wow.
of what you're looking at. If I press Z, in order to do this.
Mad.
Yeah, all this stuff like permutation combination. Now, let's say you made a face and you haven't moved it. You by mistake right click. Right? The moment you right click during any process in Blender, you end up completely stopping that process. Okay, not what happened before, but then stopping that one particular process. For example, when I extruded it, it created a new face, but then there is no movement as such. So it is staying there, but you can't see it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing you can do is you can press G and Z. So it extrudes inside.
Will this interact with the face below it, or is it going to be hollow?
It will definitely, it won't interact, it will intercept and it will form this weird thing.
I mean,
Again,
like, if you...
try not to do it.
Will it also interact with the first level? Like the first wide thing that you've got going on?
This one?
Yeah, does it interact with that also, or is that completely hollow?
It doesn't, essentially, let's go inside this. You see what's going on?
Okay.
Inside? So, basically, it does not, it interacts, but there is it does not need to interact because it's hollow inside.
Oh, okay, cool.
Alright, but according to us right now, this is an object which is fully filled with solid stuff. So that is how you do stuff. Just one more thing which I teach, if you press Ctrl R, you create a loop.
Okay.
And basically how a loop works is basically when you press Ctrl R, it says you have to create a loop, and it creates a loop in the general direction of any edge your mouse is over. So if it's over this edge, then it'll create a loop as such.
Okay.
If it's over this edge, it'll create a loop as such. Let's say you want to create more loops because one is not enough. That's where the wheel comes in.
Okay, before you go on to the multiple loops, I have one question. So, is there any way of predicting where you get the loops and in whether they're horizontal or vertical? Because while I was working, that was one of the issues I faced where I couldn't understand whether, it was just guesswork, just move it around and hope that you get what you want. But is there any predictable way of figuring out whether it's going to be horizontal, vertical, or which?
That is slightly there is a way to look at it via topology.
Okay.
So a loop is basically formed when the computer recognizes that, okay, a loop is basically formed when the computer recognizes that, you know, the faces, which all of them have four vertices, okay? When a face has 4 edges, it's called a quad something.
Okay.
Quadrilateral, yes. Quadrilateral.
Amazing.
Okay, a quadrilateral. And in essence, when like 4 quadrilaterals are sort of in a loop, okay, I do not know exact theoretic word,
Yeah.
but can you see this? The quadrilaterals which I've selected right now,
Got it.
they are in a loop.
Okay.
Okay, because the moment a loop is created, you know, it does not necessarily break anything, any order. You know what I mean? You can keep
I
on
think so.
creating.
For the most part, yes.
Sorry?
I got it.
Yeah, sort of. So, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's say for some weird reason, alright, I eat this out.
Okay.
Alright, and I will tell you how to do this like better in like, some other class
Okay.
we are gonna have. But let's say I deleted this. Okay, the space, which is easy. Just press delete and you will delete anything. Alright, and you press Ctrl R. You see that the loop stops over there.
Yeah.
Alright, and that's because you know these spaces, okay, which is supposed to form a loop, okay, needs this one particular phase in order to form an actual complete loop.
Oh.
And the reason for that is it's like the theory aspect is slightly advanced. It's I think called N and E loop, N and E poles. You see these poles? So a loop can't be created like these poles form the direction. Okay.
Okay.
So if you were to run straight like on this particular face in this direction, then you would keep on going on a loop around this general, faces. You won't go down until you have designed the faces in such a way.
Okay.
Imagine it as if you're laying roads. Okay.
Okay.
The general direction of how faces go, that's what forms a loop. And
Alright.
if you want to know where to keep the loop, and let's say I want to form a loop around this particular, like this. I want to make a loop like this.
Okay.
What I generally do is I hover my mouse over an edge like this, as such, which is a part of that loop.
Okay.
And that's how I just, there's no guesswork. And if you scroll with your wheel, it will increase the number of,
Loops.
loops. Now let's say you have clicked and you formed one loop. Okay, and you can put it anywhere like this. Okay, this is your wish.
Yeah.
If you right click, it will do it exactly in the center.
Got it.
Okay. Now let's say I may want a loop here, and like okay, now you're like okay, shit, I don't want a loop at all. I want to cancel this program. I mean, not the program, the loop thing, and right click again, and no loop, voila, because you cancel the process in between.
Cool.
While if you press and then you right click, it cancels the process of you deciding to go where it should be placed. So it just puts it in the center. Now that the loop aspect has been done, I think it's important to now delete this, come back with a new object. And how you do that is, if you want to get anything new in Blender, press Shift A. Shift A adds anything. A stands for add and Shift stands for shift.
How to explain 101?
You can create, explanation to it.
Stonks.
So this mesh, okay, mesh is basically what you just saw, a cube. You can make a plane, a cube, a circle, a sphere, isosphere sphere, which is a different type of sphere, a cylinder, cone, torus. Now let's say I want to make a curve, which is another sort of object. I'll tell you why it's important. You know, you go there.
Okay.
It lines, texts, empties, images. All these are different types which are slightly more advanced, but the most important is mesh.
Okay.
And create a cube. One might ask, how do you decide, you know, that the cube is there? And that is because of this cursor. I'll tell you what to do with the cursor later, if
Okay.
time permits, but then right now it's important just to know that there is a curve here. You know, understand that this box is, now we are understanding that, you know,
What? Could you repeat that?
You want to make a box up. So I said we're understanding that this box is very hard edged.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make a very, you know, soft box with very soft edges. Or
Yeah.
just let's say you want to make a ball.
Hmm.
Okay. That is where modifiers come. Okay. Modifiers basically stands like it's self-explanatory, modifies your object. And the interesting part about the modifier is that it is a non-destructive sort of way of working. All right.
Okay.
If you know what modifiers to use at what time, then you can very easily change what your object looks like very easily. And like, you know, you can without actually destroying or doing something that might jeopardize, you know, something you like. For example, if I wanted to turn this into a ball, I wouldn't go ahead and like create Control R, then I wouldn't scale the what do you say, controller over here, then okay, I'm gonna scale this to, oh wow, look, a ball. But then it looks very weird. It looks like a subway, what do you say, carton.
Horribly designed subway carton.
Horribly designed, yes. Which you don't want. Alright? So, in essence, what you do is, alright, you go and you look at the most famous modifier of them all.
Subdivision surface.
Yes, it is the wet dream of every Blender user. It is used extensively. You can play around with these settings. I will tell you what each of them do maybe some other time. But then, in essence, what it does is it averages out your. It basically first thing it does is it creates subdivisions. Okay, as you can see, you know.
It has added more faces basically.
Sorry?
It has added more faces basically.
Yeah, it has added more faces. It's written one in viewport here on the right hand side, and it basically says, you know, I've added a loop, one loop, and that's why there's 4 faces on top rather than 1. But it's not destructive, so each of these things does not have a vertex. It's just a mere illusion. So it saves a lot of data also in terms of how much your PC can handle. Alright, it's just an illusion. And the best part about this is it also averages out the vertices so that it, you know, brings a very smooth ball sort of situation.
Okay.
Let's say you want to create a shape which looks like that weird chocolate, which is like fancy, which has a flat base but a round top. Alright?
Okay.
What you do is you control R and you place it over here. Let's say on the base you want to place it, click it, and suddenly you notice that this thing is as such. Okay. And the moment you bring it closer to your base, it makes the base flat. Alright? And essentially what it does is it does not create any new edges, but then the average distance between this edge and this edge is calculated, and they are like, okay, well, if that was the case, then the average angle at which this face is made, average angle at which this face is made is basically going to be sort of like this. Hence, this entire shape is shaped like this in the base. And on top there is, the distance is very huge. That's why it's very round. Okay. Now there is like a bunch of modifiers. There's so many things you can do with modifiers in essence. Let's say you want to create, like, if you create a face, okay, it will be very, 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 like roundish, as you might have noticed. You can end up with
Oh wait, what did you do there? Did you extrude again?
I just extruded.
Okay. Also, you could try turning on your camera again. I mean, I feel really bad that you're not here.
The
Oh, okay, cool.
As you might have noticed now that,
Oh,
in general, this box would have some width to it, but then you're like, shit, why is there no width? Why is it too sharp over there? What you can basically do is you can control R and go to the edge you want to create a loop in and just sharpen it up. Alright?
oh wow.
And suddenly now you have a cup.
Oh wait, what was the second thing you did?
I basically just created a loop.
Yeah, the first thing was you dragged it in. Did you also drag something out?
Yeah, I dragged it out in the same because let's say I didn't drag it out, alright? Basically what it does is it makes the sharp.
Okay.
And if you control R and you drag it out, it makes the outer edge look sharp. And now it knows
Oh man,
what it's supposed to do.
this looks
So
cool.
let's say you want, yeah. So let me see if that is how this works. I forgot how to select the loop.
I think you alt click it.
Yes. Thank you. So if you press Alt and you click a loop, alright?
Yeah.
Select a loop. Alt and you click anything, you can select the loop. If the loop ends abruptly anywhere, you select everything till that end. And now let's say you want to make this cup slightly not so sharp. All you do is drag this, like press, oh god, I see what I did there.
Oh, nice moves.
GZ. Press GZ, or basically you're moving this in the Z axis up, and it'll basically make it not that sharp. Okay?
Okay.
So that's like this, you'll get a hang of it once you start just making objects and stuff. Alright? Now I'll just teach you something really cool, something that you wouldn't essentially be able to do very easily. Let's say, you know what? Let's do something really extreme here. Let's select this face color. Okay. Now
Okay.
again, this looks like it's random, but it's not. Alright. I just select this edge, which is this face, which is the part of the loop, like this.
Yeah.
And I just drag it up. Alright. And the moment I drag it up, alright, I drag it up like tremendously.
Okay.
I control R and I create a bunch of subdivisions. Why I do that? Well, let's just say I want to make this entire thing curve. Alright? There is the one way to go about it, alright, is to click the edge here. Alright, and click Alt and select the loop here. Alright, and move it to the side, but then you'll have to do the same thing for the inside loop also. I forgot to add loops inside. We only added it outside.
Okay.
Alright. So some stuff like this, you figure it out along the way. Just click Ctrl R and pray to God that again you select the right edge. So again, I'm going to press Ctrl R here, and I move it towards this edge, and you can see in the bottom side that it's yellow in color.
Yeah.
And you scroll wheel, and you can create a lot more, stuff like loops. Select it, right click because you want it centered. Now let's say you've done this, alright, and I have miraculously, without any calculation, done
Wow.
the exact same loops.
Who's the lucky man?
Perfection. Alright. Now, let's say you want to select.
Oh, okay. Actually, hold on. That gives me a question. What if you want to have a particular number of loops? Is there any way of typing in a number and getting your loops?
No. You just have. I mean, as far as my knowledge goes, no.
Okay. Cool.
You just calculate it using your calculations.
All right.
Pass grade 1, hopefully. Yeah. So now there is two ways to select. Can set and then select this second loop, but then it's really hard to do because you have to get the right loop.
Yeah.
Best way to do this is by pressing B, which is a box select, and you select both the loops. No, you don't. Oh my God! They changed box select settings.
Oh no, I think you just need to go into X-ray mode.
Yeah, probably. I thought they would change it without X-ray.
Okay.
I'm sad.
Oh, did you just scroll on that? Is that how that went across?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I forgot to tell that too. So if you, let's say you're here and you're like, oh my god, I can't see this. Best way to do that is by scrolling. You can see whatever is there on the other side.
Cool.
Right? So if you press this, you basically go to X-ray mode and you can see everything that is going through this. And you can select it best. Alright? Some of you might not be able to, well, some of you might be getting the circle because you pressed a button by mistake, or this, the lasso select, or this, single select. Basically what you did is you press W, and W scrolls through the different, if you can see on the left hand side,
yeah.
it scrolls through the different select modes. And in essence, what I usually have is basically the box selected, and I just select this. Now let's say I want to make this entire thing curve. In this direction, the Y direction.
Okay.
Alright, and I keep on doing this. Is this helpful? Yes. Is this slow? Yes.
Yes.
So, why would one do this? God knows. You don't want to do this. Alright?
Alright.
What you essentially want to do is press O. And what O does is open up the orthographic mode. Okay. And you notice that there's a circle now. Alright. The moment you press G, there's a circle. And this circle is basically telling us now if you move this one selected object, everything that is under the circle will basically be influenced by it. How you control the circle is
Scroll.
basically by mouse wheel. Okay?
Yeah.
So as you can see now, wherever I move this, it affects it as such. You know, a cup is doing a million. So it moves as such. Let's say I want to move this, then I move this as such, and let's say I want to increase the influence, I do this however I wish. Okay, now this is a cool way of working, but again, it does not give you complete control. Alright? And I'll tell you why, because the moment you decide to, move this to this side, you see that all what do you say, faces are getting so skewed. Right.
Whoa.
It starts making your mesh very unusable.
Yeah.
Alright. That is where curves come in. Alright. And this is really just a really cool trick. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you press Shift A and you press, if you come out of, make sure you come out of this mode. Otherwise, you can't create anything other than mesh. Come out of edit mode. You're in global mode, and you press the curve button. Alright? And in essence, you want to start off with just Bezier curve.
Okay.
Alright? And you make a curve where the cursor was. Alright?
Okay.
I want to rotate this in 90 degrees in the
Wait,
y-axis. Let's say.
where the cursor was, or where the origin?
The cursor. Where the cursor is, it will create an object there.
So it's not created near the that round thing with red and white circle thing. What's it called?
It is created there, but that's not the origin. That's a cursor.
Oh, that's called a cursor.
Oh yeah, sorry. I should have mentioned 3D cursor. That's a 3D cursor.
Okay.
And if you press this button over here where it says cursor, you move it around.
Okay, cool.
And anything you create will come over there. Voila.
Cool.
So now that, by the way, the cursor is not susceptible to Control C. Just keep that in mind.
Oh yeah, that annoyed me so much.
Yeah. I'll tell you how to fix that after some time.
Okay.
Let's say you want to move towards this. Alright. The best way to do it is by clicking it, but then the fastest way to do it is by pressing W, and you suddenly move back to your select tool. Okay?
Okay.
So now let's say you have this and you want to edit this Bezier curve because it's in a weird shape and that's not normal.
Okay.
First thing you do is rotate it in the y-axis so that it's sort of in the shape of this cup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And rotating 90 degrees to approximation where you work from in 10th grade. So you have to write 90 degrees in your number pad. Just write 90. And the moment you write 90, it will snap. If it doesn't work for you, you probably have your number lock on, just like how I did have mine. And as you can see now, it rotated your entire thing in 90 degrees.
Maybe you can also show the
And if you,
fine changes by, I think, holding shift.
yes, yeah. If you hold shift, it will very fine, in very small increments, it will rotate your thing.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing this right now, it's rotating it really quickly, but then let's say I press shift, sorry. If I rotate this right now very quickly, but then as soon as I press shift, it's very, it's like a Rajinikanth with slow motion. So, and Rohit, you initially asked me like a long time ago, how would you do an animation?
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, along a curve. I'll tell you how you would do that. I mean, it's like a very simple trick. Okay, that's why I'm telling it to you.
Okay.
Move this slightly up. Okay. Go to tab, and you'll see that this is the Bezier curve. It basically follows everything that a normal Bezier curve should follow.
Okay.
Alright. Now, let's say you want to make it to the length of this cup. GZ, basically move it up. You want to make it slightly curvy. Okay.
Okay.
Also, don't forget to switch off the orthographic mode.
Yeah. Is it orthographic mode or proportional editing?
Proportional editing, God. Yeah. Because for some weird reason, Blender decided to go and give the shortcut O.
And
So, yeah, and like, you're like, oh shit, well, why?
does P not have any shortcut assigned to it?
Proportional editing.
No, P, the letter P, it does not have anything assigned to it?
It does. It
Oh,
does
wow.
parent.
That's
That is
interesting.
slightly, yeah. Parent is one of the most important things, you have no idea.
Yeah. Okay, so Piyush is asking like proportional editing question mark. So I guess just ask him. I just show what proportional editing is one more time.
Okay, cool. So basically, what proportional editing is basically you're influencing, well, like if you select something, you're influencing everything around it to move in a certain fashion. So in basic essence, let's say I'm selecting this. Let me go into my front tab over here. I select this loop. Okay, I'm not able to select the entire thing, maybe because it's not an X-ray mode. Put it in X-ray mode, and I'm going to select this loop. Alright, and if I move it right now, it is just moving that. But I want to move everything around it in a very smooth fashion. So I can either press this button, or I can just go and press O, and it'll switch on that button automatically. And the moment I start pressing G, you'll notice a circle. The circle is basically the radius or the area where all the stuff around it will be influenced. And when you move, everything around it is like you see how everything is just moving very nicely, smoothly, right?
Yeah.
So that is basically proportional editing. It proportionally edits everything within that circle. Let's say you move this and you're like, okay, I don't want that top edge to be influenced. So you just scroll down, and basically it does not influence anything over there. Then you scroll up and it influences everything that's inside.
Oh, hold on. So Piyush says that he got this. I'm sorry about this. So he got this, but he was just asking if you are using proportional editing to curve the Bezier path.
No. That
You're just using the handles, right?
Because I'm just using the handles. There are
Yeah.
only two handles in this simple Bezier curve. I'm just changing each of these handles as you would do in Photoshop.
Got it. Literally every design software ever. Bezier curves for life.
Yeah. Bezier curves are really helpful.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm making this weird sort of spiral, let's say, okay, for that fun of it. Not spiral, just this weird curve. Okay. No importance. Alright. And let's say if I want this cup to move in this form, okay, this curves form. Alright. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be able to do it properly with the help of proportional editing
Hmm.
because there are limits to the human mind.
Yeah.
It's really hard, painful, honestly. So what you do is you go to your modifiers because they're non-destructive and they're very easy to do. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you go to the deform section. Alright? There's like a million things that are there under deform, but then the one we're going to use now is called the curve deformer, and it again just explains what it does. Alright? It deforms a mesh according to a curve.
Okay.
Okay. So now you're like, okay, I've added this modifier. Why isn't it deforming? It's because this modifier doesn't know which curve to deform to.
Okay.
So what you do for the, and that's why it's red in color. When a modifier is not completely activated, it's red in color over here.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the object area and you see, you click this, I think it's called line draw button, and you just pick the curve you want to pick. I mean, you pick the curve you want this weird object to follow, or act with.
Okay.
And the moment you do that, this
Oh.
is what happens. Alright?
Uh-huh.
And this is not helpful completely. Right? You can sort of play around with each of these deformation axes
Mm-hmm.
and see how much it deforms. And for us, right now, minus x works. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Right now, let's say I want this to move. Okay,
Oh, okay.
in this curve. So then what I basically do is I just click the object and I press GZ. Because it's moving in the Z axis.
Uh-huh.
And basically what it's doing is, it is telling this, it is moving the origin point of the, it's moving the object in essence, but you're seeing the origin point move, and basically the object is moving according to the curve.
Hmm.
So this is how you would do it in real life. You wouldn't, let's say you wanted this cup to be animated, moving, just like it was flat over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you wanted it to move into this curve, in the shape of this curve.
Hmm.
Okay, you wouldn't animate it by moving each vertex.
You just
You
get
would
the
just
curve.
use this modifier, yeah.
Okay. So, once it's outside the curve, does it just follow the last direction that it was shown?
Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
as you can see, it's happening here.
Ah. Could you also
And this-
put in the keyframes and show if you know how to do it? Because
not completely right now. I mean, I know how to put keyframes, but then I wouldn't go there right now.
okay, cool. But like, just in case somebody already knows, like I know a little bit of this, and I tried to put keyframes and I couldn't wrap my head around it. So, if you could show.
We can do that.
Okay,
We can do that later. Just not now, I guess.
cool.
Because modeling is something that I kind of am proficient with. Animation in this particular Blender, I haven't really explored much, because in essence what Blender lacks in is rigging and animation. So I never really looked at it.
Cool,
Modeling
cool.
aspect is like really good.
Okay, cool.
So that is one trick, and you might expect, okay, but then now that my thing is moved like this, what if I wanted the other thing back? Well, you can completely stop, close this modifier, or you can just press this button. It says display modifier at viewport. You can just press that. Suddenly it's showing how your object actually is.
Ah,
It does not destroy your object in any manner. It's really cool. So that is modifiers in essence. Alright. Is our time done?
sorry.
Isn't our time kind of done?
We are at 1 hour now, so technically yes, but anything is still.
Do you want me to talk about the snap options?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
And okay, cool. So this is something which which is very essential to any 3D workflow, is the snap option. Because this 3D environment does not, you don't necessarily get to deal with depth very well over here. So you need to know where to keep your stuff.
Okay.
And that is where snap options come. I'm pretty sure you have found it difficult to place, let's say, something on top of a slightly slanting cube.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to change the rotation, see whether the axis is correct, then you have to see whether the object is not going inside the cube, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is slightly, hard to do without actually knowing what the snap option is. Snap option is basically activated when you press Shift S.
Okay.
The moment you press Shift S, you get all these options. And it's important to read it across. And it is, you can either select it as such, or you can just press the number over here.
Okay. And is this the number that you press on your number row above the normal keyboard or in the numpad?
Doesn't matter.
Sorry?
As when you open this, right?
Yeah.
Anything you press anywhere.
Oh no, you were saying you could click any of the numbers, right?
Oh.
So I'm asking if it has to be clicked on the numpad or on the normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The moment you enter into any dialog box or like a menu like this,
yeah.
you don't need to worry whether you're clicking it in a number pad or your keyboard.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, so I essentially don't use the number pad because numbers over here because it's slightly confusing for me. I just use it the other way. And this is where the cursor comes to importance. Now you can either press the cursor as such and move it around. I find it easier to press Shift F, Shift space.
Okay.
And everything that is related to your move comes into it. Measurement, which if you're making like an architecturally important thing, then you use measure. If you are still coming new to Blender, then you can check out the shortcuts over here. But then I want to click the cursor, and I can either click it again, or I can just press Shift space space. Shift space, and I press space again. Okay? As soon as I press Shift space and I have selected the cursor. If you press space, otherwise it will play the animation wheel. And what this basically does is Shift space space. You have your cursor can be moved. Now, anywhere you click, it's the cursor.
Okay.
Alright. Now let's say you have clicked it in so many different weird places, and you want it to come to the original. Alright.
Yeah.
You press Shift S, then you press cursor to word or 1.
Okay.
And your cursor is in word. Why is this important? I'll tell you. Now go back to your normal selection, W, Shift A for getting a new mesh, press Q. Okay. I want, let's say, this cube to be placed I want this cube to be duplicated.
Okay.
And how you duplicate in Blender is by pressing Shift E.
Okay.
And I want it to be, let's say, duplicated in the exactly on the edge over here.
Okay.
So I keep it like this. Now we realize that this is a very tedious process, and it's not exactly on the edge as you can see.
Yeah.
All right. That is basically because of my bad skill level, but also because it's very inconvenient to do this. Alright?
Yeah.
What you would essentially do is, you go to Tab, alright? Press 2 for going into the edge mode. Shift space space. Oh, sorry, my bad. Shift space. Oh, okay. I've got a mistake on the gyroscope. Shift space space.
Okay.
Click the edge. Okay. Sorry, my bad.
It's alright.
You click the edge. Don't click Shift space space. And you go to your Shift snap mode. Okay. click any edge or any face you want. Alright?
Okay.
Go to your snap shift S mode, cursor to select it. And what this basically does is it sends the cursor, attaches the cursor or snaps the cursor towards the center of anything. Be it an object, be it an edge, be it a face. So if let's say I go to 3 and I select this face, and I press Shift S, cursor to select it, you can notice that it has
I think you're stuck, Sidharth, if you can hear me. Can you hear me, Sidharth? Whoopsie. Seems like we need a new meeting. Okay. Let me just add him. Okay, I think he's out of internet. Hold on. Alright, he's coming back. Let's bring back our MVP. Okay, this is taking some time. Can you join? Can you add? Well, I guess on this terrible disappointment where Zoom is, how do I get this up? Yeah, where Zoom isn't working, I think we'll call it quits for today, and we'll get back later. See y'all.